Lagoon Nebula, exploring it in PixInsight. How do you take your raw images and blink them? How do you take and apply WBPP to all of your images, bringing them in and stacking them, getting them processed so that you can use it in social media and share with your friends? How are we going to accomplish all of this if you've never used PixInsight before? Well, these are the questions that we're going to ask and discover together on another episode of Astro Playground. Stick around. So welcome back to our third installment in using the HyperStar. Today we're going to talk about taking the images that you've shot with your telescope and pulling them into PixInsight so that you can review those images, blink the images, which basically means looking for subframes that are inadequate, what to do with those subframes, how to save your images and pull them into a process, a script called WBPP. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up PixInsight. We will go in and pull our subframes in, get them into a process called Blink, which allows us to inspect all of our images and go ahead and select those that are unacceptable, file them away, and save our good subs, preparing them for the next step in the process, which is WBPP, weighted batch post-processing, which will allow us to then go ahead and stack our images for further use. Let's get into this. Here we go. So we'll go ahead and open up PixInsight. Get this going and show you what we need to do first. For those of you that are unfamiliar with PixInsight, we have our process control window that opens up every time we open up PixInsight. This will allow us to basically check and see if there are any updates that need to be applied or any errors in the current version of PixInsight. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the process section. Now, in PixInsight, you have, of course, at the very top, you have your file, your edits, your view, you have your image, preview, mask, process, scripts, workplace, windows, and resources. We're going to go right now into processes. And as you can see, these processes are in two different kinds of primary windows. There's the all process windows, which basically is a comprehensive list of everything that PixInsight offers. There is also this initial window that allows us to see the processes that are similarly linked together. If, for instance, if you go over here to image inspection, you can see that we have right here Blink. Blink, when we open it up, Blink will basically open up this window here. And there's not a whole heck of a lot that you can do here quite yet. As you can see, most of the things are grayed out. The only thing that isn't grayed out is this little icon right here, which is our files in our Add Files tab. That's what we want. We want to click on this, and we're going to go ahead and open up the images that we want to inspect. So right here, I have this. As you can see, this right now is in, and I just want to make sure that I've got the right files. I'm pretty sure I do, but I'm just going to double check. Right here in storage, in my external hard drive, I have my target files. I'm going to go ahead and open up my target files, and I have my HyperStar imaging. I've got my particular target, which is the Lagoon Nebula. We're going to go ahead and open up that. In here, we have all of our relevant files, our biases, darks, flats, and our lights. In the lights folder, I have my subfolders for my different filters. I have my ITIS NBZ filter. I have my Moon and Sky Glow. I also have my Triad Ultra quad band, as well as my rejected status file. All right, rejected subs. This is where we're going to take and put the subs that we're sure we're not going to use right now, but we don't want to get rid of them either, just in case. So that's where they're going to go. Right now we're going to open up our Moon and Sky Glow. Now I have 2 different nights. I shot my first night at 30-second exposures. I've already gone ahead and inspected these. Out of the 150 that I shot, we were only rejecting 5 of those. Now there may be more that get rejected down the road, but there were at least 5 that I noticed right away that were not usable. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our 60-second exposures, and these exposures were shot just the previous night, and I was able to get upwards, I believe I got 204 of these. So significant, you know, 3 hours and 20 minutes roughly of data on the Lagoon. Not bad at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to select these and scroll all the way down, hit our shift key and select all, and we're going to pull these into PixInsight and into Blink. This will take a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video. Okay, so now we have all of our files pulled into Blink in PixInsight, and as you can see, the way that this is organized is that we have the subs with all of its relevant information. It tells us, first of all, which target we have, which is M8, which is the Lagoon, which filter, we've got our Moon and Sky Glow. We also have the date that it was shot, the time for each subframe, and it has the gain settings and the OS settings. So from here, what we want to do is, if you look at and I'm just going to move this around just a little bit so that we can see this effectively. So if you look at this image, it has a stretch on it, all right? But as I move through, you can see that there are different levels of brightness that are moving through, and you can also detect the meridian flip. All right. So what we want to do is we want to put a stretch on each individual subframe. Right. Right now it's applying, for lack of a better term, a global stretch. All right. So what you can do is you just come up here to this top button right here, and we hit that, and that will then apply the automatic stretch for each subframe. And again, this will take just a minute, and I'll speed up the video. Okay, so now we have our images, and as you can see, they all have their individual stretch on them. So here we have our subframe that you can see the data on the Lagoon. We want to be able to identify any of these subs that we want to reject, not use, all right? And we're going to put those into a separate folder, as I showed you before. So here we go. In looking at this, and as I said, looking at the data, most of it looks reasonably good. So we're very fortunate we were able to get a lot of solid data on this. So we're just going to go through here and take a peek and see what we got. Now, one of the things that you can do is just use your arrow keys to scroll through. Now, as you can see, the pictures are kind of jostling a little bit. That's okay. When we register these images, it will align all those stars so that there may be a little bit of cropping that has to happen, but it won't be much. And as you can see, we've got plenty of room to crop. We could take 20% of this picture away, and we'd still have a significant picture to use. So in moving through here, as you can see, we're just looking for data that is unusable. All right, and as I go through, most of these they look really, really nice. All right, I haven't found anything yet that I want to reject, which is good. You don't want to have to reject, subframes. The other thing that's important to remember is that you can be fairly liberal with this process, because there will be later on in the process the ability to select, at a higher degree of rejection. Right now, we just want to identify those pictures that are definitely not usable. And honestly, I'm not seeing a lot in the way of rejection. Most of this data is really good. I'm going to speed up the video to see if I can find data that is not usable. Well, in looking at the subframes, I was not able to identify anything that was highly objectionable. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you what you're supposed to do if you do find a frame that is objectionable. So there, if you notice here, you'll see that you have a highlight in this orange bar, but you also have this checkbox. Now the checkbox, it doesn't really do anything except identify the images that you want to pay attention to, that you want to reject. All right. So let's say that we come down through here, and I find right here I don't like that image. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit that little checkbox, and then continue down through until I find another one that I don't like, and I'll check that. So as you go through, you can select the subs that you want to identify. And what I found is that if we simply start on the slider and use the slider to identify where we are, so we'll move and check and check and check, and then what you want to do, let's say that those are the three that we want to reject. You come over to the section down here, and it says copy select files to a new location. Okay, so we open up our the selected file. We'll go to our rejected folder, open up our rejected folder, and hit open. Now I'm not going to do this because I want to retain these, but when you hit open, it will then pull these files into this section. Now what's interesting is that when you close this, these are still here. So it's basically copying them over there. So if you want to remove them completely, what you have to do down here next to the add files tab, there is a radio button that says close selected image. Now it's important, and you have to be careful because the one right next to it is close all images. You want to make sure that you are only using the close selected images. So when you hit that, it will pull these out of here. So when you go back over to your files, these images here have been removed from the file that you pulled into Blink. These ones have been removed. They've been moved into the rejected folder. So now the files that you have are ready to be used in WBPP. And we're going to open up WBPP. So we simply come up here to our processes. You can actually come over here to scripts. We'll click on scripts, and we'll come down here to batch processing. We go over to the slide out, and at the bottom you see right here weighted batch processing. So we'll open that up, and here we go. So one of the things that is important to note about this process is that it looks more complicated than it is, but you do have to pay at least a modicum of attention to detail. So there are a few things to look at here. So let's just go ahead and slide this out. As you can see, what we have represented here, at the top we have the tabs that represent the different files, be them calibration or light files, as well as post-calibration and pipeline tabs. Each one of these is fairly self-explanatory. Bias for bias, darks for darks, flats for flats, lights for lights, and so on and so forth.
You get the idea.
That is resident here. So if we click on the bias tab, you can see we have bias information here. Darks, same thing, dark information here. Flats, same thing. Okay, so on and so forth, all the way down through and to our lights. All right, so in looking at this, what we want to do is figure out how do we get those files in here in the first place. Now, there are tabs that you see down here for add bias, add darks, add flats, add lights. You can certainly do that one at a time. The thing is that if you click on, let's say for instance that you click on bias, add bias frames, it will just simply open up, you know, a directory and say, okay, where are you pulling these from? So you could be pulling any files from anywhere. All right. PixInsight, using it this way, it will not determine that those are actually bias frames. So if you accidentally load dark frames in by opening up your bias frames, it's not going to say, hey, you know, you made a mistake, you know. So I would suggest that you stay away from these unless you have no other choice. I would stay away from using these. You can also add custom. So if, for instance, you add something in and it rejects it, or it gives you a warning, you know, saying your file name is too long, you know, or something to those effects, you know, or you added things in the wrong order, and you want to say you had two different folders for your lights, for your bias frames, right? And you wanted to add all of them in at the same time. You can change that by adding custom. But again, you don't really need to do that if you set it up correctly first in your acquisition software, be it, you know, Nina or Sequence Generator Pro or whatever you might be using. All right. So the way that I would use it, and the way that most people use it, is by adding files, is to go either to the directory or to the files tab themselves. So if we go to, let's say we go to the files tab, it's going to say, okay, where are you pulling from? So we're going to come over here to our external, and it's going to load up the external. We want to go to our target files. We want to go to our HyperStar imaging, the Lagoon Nebula, and here you go. We have our, we have all of our information right here. Now, if I say I want the bias frames, right? I can click on the bias and it'll just add the bias. And as you can see, again, there's my bias, there's my darks, there's my flats, lights, so on and so forth. All right. Now, you can also go to the directory tab, and it will allow you to just select all of your folders, hit open, and it will sort them right, you know, everything into their respective places, right where they need to be, based on the information that's in the FITS header. And you set up the information in the FITS header in your acquisition software. Like I said, either Sequence Generator Pro, Nina, you know, SkyX, whatever it is that you're using, you know, you know, for your acquisition. It will then, you know, give you the opportunity to set up your FITS file directory the way that you want it to show in your respective folders. So in adding your files this way, the WBPP script will sort them, and you shouldn't have to worry about it. So when you get to all of your files that have been added, what you can do is come over here to calibration, and you'll be able to determine pretty quickly whether or not you have done things correctly by the check marks. Now, looking at our bias, we have our bias frames here, we have our darks, right? We have our flats, all right? And the flats are for the moon and sky glow and luminance filter, right? The one is a 30-second exposure, the other one is a 60-second exposure. Effectively, they're the same. They're exactly the same thing. The only reason that I did it twice is because I actually pulled the filter drawer out to clean the filter. I noticed that there was some dust on it in my images, so I just blew it off. And in doing that, I wanted to make sure that I retook the flats. All right. So anytime you introduce ambient, or possibility of dust into your image train, you want to make sure that you retake your flats. So that's what I did here. And then I changed filters, and obviously you want to run a new set of flats for a different filter. Okay. And then in the lights, we have our all of these being binned one by one. We have our 60-second total exposure for the moon and sky glow. We have our NBZ filter, all right? And if we look at our diagnostics,
flashback,
we run our diagnostics. I think the only thing that it's going to give me an error, it's not an error, it's actually just a warning. It's saying, hey, your file names are too long, right? It says, invalid file name character will be replaced with dashes, no filter name, moon and sky glow, right? So it doesn't like the spaces, all right? So it will be in the actual fits header, the finished product, it will change that. It's saying, hey, we're going to do that, all right? And then obviously down here, because I haven't cleaned up my desktop, I don't have enough memory. But that's just a matter of moving things around. So it tells you exactly how much you need, how much is available, what you need to get rid of, and we'll go from there. So once you're happy with the diagnostics, you've got enough memory, you're in good shape there, you go ahead and hit run, and it will basically give you the same message again, right? And you hit continue, and it will go through the process. And it is literally that simple.
End of flashback.
All right, now, as it relates to the files themselves, there's a couple of things. If you look on the right-hand side of the subsequent file types, like bias, darks, flats, lights, so on and so forth, you have input information. Now, most of the stuff in your calibration frames and such, you're not going to need to mess much with this, all right? But there are a couple of things that you want to make sure that you have checked, all right? And it's easy to miss, so this is just a heads up, all right? Again, bias, not a whole heck of a lot you need to do here. The defaults are pretty solid, all right? Darks, same thing, okay? Flats, same thing. All right. Now, something to note: if for instance you loaded too many things in here, what you can do is you can select and hit your Command or Control or your Shift key actually, and select those that you want to remove, or hit your Command and individually select the files that you want to remove. Come over here and hit Remove Select. Okay, simple. Just a little, procedure there. Now, when we come to lights, this is where you want to pay attention to some of the things that you see here. All right, the linear defects, unless you're using an older camera, an older cooled camera, you probably, if you're using any kind of modern camera, you probably don't need to check this, all right? Subframe weighting, yes, you want the PSF signal weight on there. The image registration you want checked. I would encourage you to turn off local normalization. It's not really all that necessary. It chews up a lot of crunch time and processing time and memory. You don't really need it. You can do your own research on it and see if it's something that you want to use. I think you'll find out pretty quickly that you don't really need it. So just make sure that that local normalization is turned off. You want to make sure image integration is clicked. Automatic integration mode, you want to make sure that's unchecked. You don't need that. Auto crop, not a bad idea to have. The astrometric solution, also you want that checked. All right. Another thing to note is, let's say that you in adding your lights, you have some lights that are different exposure times. All right. Like for instance, here I have in my lights, I have exposures that are 30-second, right, in here, right, and I have exposures here that are 60-second. Right? So in order to so that these are batched together, you need to make sure that your calibration exposure tolerance is set to at least the highest number that you have. So in this case it's 60 seconds. All right. What that will do is it will take the batch of 30-second photos that I have and add it in together in the calibration tab. When all of it's pulled together, it'll put it into one line instead of splitting it. All right, that will just ensure that's done. So just a quick note, to do that. So looking at calibration, the calibration, it's for the most part we're looking good. Now, when you click on your bias, right, you click on your darks. If you have any problems at all, it's going to show up, in a window down here. It'll give you some sort of a warning. Same with flats, same with lights. All right. In selecting your lights, you want to make sure that if you're using a one-shot color, that you have the CFA checked. If you're using a modern camera, it's probably automatically checked. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is applying an output directory for your files. So down here, the little folder icon, designate where you want your output files to be found. All right. In my case, they're going on the desktop in a folder, for PixInsight. Moving on to post calibration, important to note. All right. When it comes to your post calibration, make sure that you are in your debayer, that as it's working and stitching your files together, that it combines them all and not separates them all, because you can do that. You can tell it either combined, separated, or both. All right. Now, if you have a particular reason for leaving them in their separate folders, RGB, by all means. However, for most people's applications, I would say that just combining the RGB is sufficient. All right. This is another thing that's very important. All right. Right here in drizzle configuration, make doubly sure that you've got that checked. All right. I made the mistake of missing that, and as a result, my first run through, my images weren't drizzled, and I was losing a ton of resolution. All right. My stars were blocky. It didn't look right. And it turns out, guess what? I should say, me being an idiot.
I'm an idiot!
I forgot to enable the drizzle. And drizzle, if you don't know what drizzle is, it basically is, it's taking and optimizing your resolution for your photos. You can do your own research on drizzle. In fact, you should probably do that anyway. Just look it up. There's a great definition online for what drizzle actually does for you. Same thing with dither. Even though they're two different processes, drizzle and dither are very important. And we owe NASA a great debt, in developing those processes. Both drizzle and dither came out of the adventures with the Hubble Space Telescope. So,
Much tranquility later.
at any rate, coming down here, fast integration, don't do it. Leave that fast integration alone. You should be in pretty good shape. Pipeline, again, statistics, is not a heck of a lot to do here. We also have a post-calibration tab, and this is basically saying, okay, when all is said and done, this is what you should have. All right, you're going to have a set of moon and sky glow lights that are at 30 and 60 second, right, combined, right, in an RGB. This is a one-shot color camera, so your RGB is resident there. We have a total of 4 hours and 20 minutes of luminance data, right? Our flats are in good shape. The second filter, again, bin 1 by 1. This is the NBZ. 60-second exposures. We have 3 hours of NBZ data, right? Again, with the flats. So we're in good shape there.
Much later.
So that's basically a shortfall on WBPP. There is a tremendous amount to learn about this particular script. This is just a quick hit. It's a quick drive-by, just to give you an idea as to what's involved with WBPP. And for those of you that are really interested in learning from the ambassadors of PixInsight, I would encourage you to check out our good friends at Masters of PixInsight. All right, Ron Breacher, who is a friend, you know, to Astroworld and Astroworld TV, Pete Pearl, Warren Keller. These guys are they are masters when it comes to processing in PixInsight, and they have an entire series and an ongoing series in the Masters of PixInsight. So if you simply Google it, and I'm going to put a link in the description below to the Masters of PixInsight so that you can get over there and take their classes. The process for registering with Masters of PixInsight is simple, and you can simply purchase your lessons as you need them, as you want them. You can purchase packages of bulk lessons or the individual lessons one at a time, and it's reasonable. So other than that, we'll move on to our next process in PixInsight, in taking the stacked images and stretching them to see what we get.
A few moments later.
Okay, so here we are in our master folder, and I have the files selected. We have our auto crop drizzled files. These files represent both the light pollution filter as well as the NBZ dual band. So we're going to go ahead and open these up in their stacked format. And as you can see, PixInsight has gone ahead and created a mask and the crop. And then we'll go ahead and look at, now this is the integration auto crop. That's the NBZ. This one here is the crop for the light pollution filter. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of that as well. And we'll just move these into a little better position so that you can see them. So we'll look at the NBZ first. We'll just give that a quick stretch. And there you go. So you can see the details in the nebula quite well. The stars are dense and small and round. We'll probably take care of that with a little bit of processing. If we look at our light pollution filter and do a quick stretch, there we go. And we have some artifacts and possibly some filter aberration, but that can be processed out. I do plan on changing my light pollution filter. The HyperStar is finicky as it relates to filters. You need filters that are going to respond well to fast speeds. I don't think that the light pollution filter, the current light pollution filter that I have, is cutting the mustard as it relates to these images. So I may use it in other applications. I think I can actually get it to work in a different rig, but I'm going to upgrade the filter for the HyperStar for light pollution. Possibly another IDIS filter, be it the DTD filter or another high-end light pollution filter. So, but we will be able to work with this. In looking at these filters, one of the very first things that we want to do is to just run a quick background extraction, dynamic background extraction. So if we go up here to scripts, I have some scripts from a couple different programmers. SETI Astro is one, and they have an automatic DBE that works fairly well. So we'll go ahead and get that running. So these settings that are in this, for the most part, are pretty good. So what the script is telling us here is just giving us some quick instructions on how to do this. It's pretty straightforward, all right? It says if you have a dark nebula or other areas that need to be excluded, click the checkbox, right? Shift click and drag to define the excluded areas, multiple areas allowed, so on and so forth. So we can certainly run it with one and look at it, and then run it with the other and look at it. So let's do that. We'll just run execute. Want to make sure that we are on the right image, integration auto crop 3, which is this one right here. So we're good. So we'll just go ahead and run this. Here we go. The gradient removal is complete. So what we can do, slide this back. If you want to see what was removed, you can just do a quick stretch on it, and you can see the gradient that was removed from the image. All right. So we'll close that, and we'll just do a quick stretch on the image and put it side by side with our other, just to take a peek. I'd say that looks fairly nice. It has removed a lot of the gradient from the dark areas. It's subtle, but it works. And it's telling us that if you shift and click to drag to define the excluded areas. So we'll just do that. Okay, so we have some excluded here, and so we'll just go ahead and execute this. It does take a little bit of time, not a lot of time, but a little bit of time. And you know, while you're waiting, there's an old adage, while you're waiting, have a sip of coffee. And just like that, there we are. So now let's see what the map looked like. Okay. And let's put our image up here, and we'll just do a quick stretch on it. So it is removing some of the blue that is in the nebula. So it's not bad, and I can process this to pull out the blue that's there, probably in Photoshop, you know, to get the blue that's there. But what we're getting as far as the gradient extraction, I think, is worth that. Yeah, it's not bad at all. So we'll go ahead and stay with this one. And as I said, I should be able to pull the blue out of the center relatively easily. So, and this is the one that we'll use going forward now. The dynamic background extraction can also be applied to this image. So we will do the DBE on the luminance layer as well. We'll shift and click. And that probably should be enough. Okay, execute. Okay, so now let's do a quick SDF stretch, and we'll see what we got. The areas here are the areas that I believe I'm dealing with some filter aberration, but that's, you know, it's just the way it is. That's life. We'll have to change out the filter and probably recapture the data, you know, with a different filter or with no filter at all, if I can get away with that on a nice clear moonless night. So. But at any rate, let's close that and we'll do a quick stretch. Okay. So it's not terrible. Okay, so we have our our images that have been stretched, and with an application of dynamic background extraction applied. Not bad, not bad at all. So we're going to keep the DBEs. This is the NBZ. This one here is the Moon and Sky Glow, which is our light pollution filter. Okay, so what we want to do now is to take these two images and apply a couple of other processes to them. The first one is going to be a BlurXTerminator. We're going to do a soft BlurXTerminator first. This will do an initial blur, all right, and we're going to do a correct only on these, and then we'll do a hard blur down the road here. So let's just go ahead and run this. And if you don't have BlurXTerminator, NoiseXTerminator, StarXTerminator, they are available as downloads, and you can find them if you go to your processes, and it's down here at RCastro. So just check out RCastro. I'll see about putting links to the site there, so you can pick up their different products, Blur, Noise, and StarXTerminator. Excellent tools to have. A definite addition to any astrophotographer's toolkit when it comes to the processing plugins. So the first run of BlurXTerminator, the correction, it's going in and just, you know, doing a soft correction on these. So we'll see more with a hard correction, as well as morphological transformation to take the stars down even further. So we'll run another application over here. It takes a second. Doesn't take terribly long. It works fairly quickly. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and close this. So now what we're going to do is extract our narrowband data from this image. And the way that we're going to accomplish that is by using a process called dbExtract. That you can find in scripts. If you pull up your scripts, go down to Utilities, and look for dbExtract, which is right there. So we're going to pull up dbExtract. Our sensor for our camera, our one-shot color, is right there. We want to extract the HA and O3 data from this image, so we're going to select this image. This is the Integration Auto Crop 3, and that then will allow us to do this. So we'll go ahead and run this, and it will take just a second. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our files extracted. I will go ahead and close the dbExtract, and here you have the HA data and you have the O3 data. So if we just do a quick stretch on those, you can see there's your HA data, and a stretch on the O3, and there you go. Okay, So what we want to do now is we want to combine this data with the RGB data, which is here. All right, and it may seem like a bit of a workaround, but pulling this data out and then combining it with the RGB independently seems to work well. So the process that we're going to use for that is also found in scripts. So if you go to scripts and you come down here to utilities, and this one you're looking for is called NB RGB combination. So here we have our NB RGB combining script, and we're going to go ahead and select our files. Our RGB file is going to be the integration autocrop 2 ADBE. All right, and then our HA data will be right here. Our O3 data is right here, and our third channel, which typically would be a sulfur channel, we're just going to put the O3 data in there as well. So this is what is known as an HOO. All right, so we will go ahead and apply that, and it will take some time for this to finish.
A few moments later.
And there we go. So here is our the image that we have for the combination of the RGB and narrowband, and it doesn't look too bad. We've actually maintained a bit of the blue. We've been able to pull some of that blue back, which is nice. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK with this, and it will apply that, and we should be in good shape. So now I'm just going to iconize my O3 and HA data and just stick it down here just in case I need to do this again. I don't think I do, but just in case. All right, and then I'm also going to iconize this image and this image. Those are our two uncombined filters, and we're going to work now from this image, and I'll just pull this over here. There we go. So there is our combined image, and we can work on this from here. All right, so our next process is to go ahead and apply a full blur to this image. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull BlurXTerminator over here, and we are not going to limit it by clicking any of the options. We're going to go for the full blur on this. All right, we're just going to go ahead and hit, actually, you can either hit the apply, or you can just drag your triangle over and it will go ahead and start working. And this will take just a second to finish. And there we go. So as you can see, it has definitely reduced those stars down quite a bit. It's still a rather dense star field, but it has reduced the stars down, which is, it's, in my estimation, it's much more desirable. Now, you could, if you wanted, to try to do and apply this again and see if you get a better result. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. It's worth a shot. You can always, if you don't like it, you can always just reverse it. It is a non-destructive process. So we'll just try that. Again, it takes just a second to finish. And there we go. So I like that. I think that's desirable. That's not bad at all. All right, that's not bad at all. So what we might want to do from this point is to see what morphological transformation can do as far as taking the stars down and reducing the number of stars that are in the star field. So if we come up here to our process, go to all processes and down to morphological transformation, which which is right there. All right. And what we will do is you can set the amount that you want removed. All right. So right now it's going to take approximately 20% of the stars away. And we can play around with this. You know, we'll start with 20 and see how we like it. And hopefully we stay away from any artifacts that might develop. So in doing that, let's just go ahead and apply that. And it did. It took some of the stars away. Not terrible. Not terrible. Now the question is, are we getting any artifacts? So if we zoom in here and we slide over, not terrible. Not terrible. So if, let's say we try it at 30%. So we'll just back out 1. Okay, and you can see it definitely brightened up. Let's try it at 30%. Even more. Now, the question is, how are we doing as far as artifacts? Are we getting any weird processing artifacts? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Looks like we're okay. Not bad. So again, we can play around with this and, you know, take another bite. So if we back out, we'll just back out and we'll apply it, say, at 40%. Let's see what this looks like. And as you can see, it's definitely muting the stars down. It's taking a lot of the dense star field and reducing it. So again, you want to inspect and make sure that you're not getting any weird artifacts due to the process. I'd say that looks fairly decent. It's not bad. We're not getting any artifacts. You can see the gases that are in the and around the nebula. This whole area is actually loaded with gas. If we were to get more and more data, you know, raw data out of the telescope, you would see much more of that gas. But you can pick up the reds that are in here. That's that gas that's in there. So again, we're not getting any artifacts. It's not looking too bad. So maybe we try again and see what it looks like at 50%. So in applying a 50% reduction, it's not terrible. It's still a fairly dense star field. We can remove all of the stars with other processes, but this is just to try to mute these stars down a bit. So let's just continue to play with this and see how far we can actually take it. If we take it to 60, let's back out 1. If we take it to, say, 60% and apply. Now let's check and see if we're getting any artifacts. I don't see any. The stars look good. We'll look all the way over here to this side. The nebula is just beautiful. Stars look decent. So I think we're doing pretty well. I think we're doing pretty well. Now, we could take it down another step. Let's just see what that looks like. This, I believe, is where most people start. But I wanted to illustrate what this process does incrementally. So again, I think that this is fairly decent, and I just want to make sure that we're not dealing with any artifacts. We don't have any weird star colors or artifacts that are showing up in the image. And I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. It's not bad. Yep, stars look good. The dark parts of the nebula are nice and clean. It looks like a very good image. Not the best. We're working on the best. We're always chasing best. We don't ever want to sacrifice, good for best. So that's why we continue to pursue, this endeavor to try to master our craft. So, but I think that looks reasonable. It's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. So as you can see, the stack has done a fairly good job. One of the things that with the other processes that we can do is to just do a quick NoiseXTerminator. All right, and this is just to take care of any noisy artifacts that are in the image. There isn't a lot there. This is set at denoise is set at 90. That's fairly aggressive, so we'll just go ahead and run this real quick. And it will go through and just smooth things out just a bit. So you notice noise especially in the really dark areas of your image. So if we zoom in here and we slide down, we go to some of the darker areas, a lot of times the noise will show up in these dark areas as blotchy or slightly blocky or blotchy areas. It's not really smooth. That's the noise that you're getting. A lot of times you can calibrate that out of your sensor with your calibration files, your calibration frames. But if you do get noise, there are wonderful tools like the NoiseXTerminator that will smooth these areas out so that when you're looking at the whole image, it is nice, stunning. So we will take this from here and pull it into Photoshop for some final touch edits, bring up some of the color a little bit, just brighten it up in the nebula, and see what we can do about pulling out just the best that this has to offer. One of the other processes that I wanted just to hit on so that you can see how it actually works is the StarXTerminator. And this process is very helpful if you want to just simply process the stars, or you want to just simply process the nebula and not necessarily do both. All right, so you can extract the stars and then replace the stars back into the image with Pixel Math, which is a script inside of PixInsight. So here we go. I'm going to just show you how this works real quick. It is a fabulous little process, and it is very dramatic in how it actually works. So here we have StarXTerminator. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and run this. We want to make sure that we have checked unscreened stars. All right, this is going to separate the stars from the image and separate them into two images. All right, so here we go. So here we go. We have our star map. This is the star field that is resident in the image, and we're just going to slide this over here, and we're going to just bring up our nebula. Now here you can see the power of this process in just looking at the nebula without the stars in place. Absolutely stunning. Now, technically, if you wanted, you could process these now as two separate images, right? So if you want to take the blue in the stars down a little bit, you can do that. You can bring out the nebula and work on just the nebula if you want. You could actually pull this into Photoshop in a TIFF file. And as long as you are using a TIFF file, you've extracted the data and you have taken and pulled it into Photoshop after you have stretched it permanently. You can then re-import that picture back into PixInsight and recombine the stars in your image. So you can get fiddly with it if you want. It is a wonderful tool on the belt for use in this process, in processing these as two separate images. Again, very powerful. So we're gonna go ahead and put these back together, pull it into Photoshop, and see about doing our final touches. Okay, and so now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put our images back together using Pixel Math. And what we have here is these two file names, right, need to be lined up in Pixel Math in such a way that it tells the system, tells the program to reintegrate the images together. So this one here is the NB-RGB combination 2 stars, right? And this one is the same but without the stars. So if we open up Pixel Math, the way that this works, for this process is to enter the code exactly as we have it here, right? So it's the starless image and then the stars image, right? Combining them. So it is you have this funny little squiggly. I wish I knew the name of that character. I don't know the name of it. I'm sure somebody will tell me what it is in the comments. But you can find that typically in the upper left-hand corner of your keyboard. It is usually there. It's a little squiggly, all right? You start with the squiggly, and then it's two parentheses, and then another one of those little squigglies, right? And then the file name, or the starless image, this image here, right? And then you close that out with a parentheses. It is the star, okay? And then you're looking at the parentheses, your little squiggly again, the file name for the star image, the star field image, right? And then you close it out with two parentheses, and that's your formula, okay?
A lot of boring math later.
So you take that and then apply that directly, just drag with your instance, your triangle, down into your starred image, right? And there you go. It puts the stars back into the field, all right? Okay, so now you want to be able to pull your image into Photoshop. But if you try to save this image as it is right now, it will not retain the stretch. The screen transfer function, it only operates within PixInsight. So the minute that you pull this image out of PixInsight into something else, it's going to go back to its linear, unstretched state, right? Which you don't want. The way that you overcome that is by taking your screen transfer function and applying it to the histogram transformation tool. So we go over here to processes, and we're going to go to all processes. We're going to look for histogram transformation tool, which is right there. Okay. So the way that this works is that right as it is right now, the screen transformation tool is linked to this image. So what you need to do is take its command and drag it from the instance down into the bottom of the histogram transformation tool right here. There we go. All right. And then all you do is take the instance from the histogram transformation and pull it up into the image there and hit your reset, and there you go. So now we'll be able to take this image. I'm just going to close these down. Now you'll be able to take the image and select it, go over here to File and Save As. All right, and here you have the file name, you know, and where you want to put it. I'm just going to go ahead and stick it right on my desktop. All right, I'm going to save it as a TIFF. Now, if this didn't work, if it didn't pull this window up right away, it would give you another window. It would give you a secondary window that says, hey, this image will not be retained, right? You need to do something else, right? You have missed a step, right? So we didn't do that, so we didn't get the window. All right.
Meanwhile,
we're going to keep this 32-bit. Everything the same here, and we're just going to go ahead and save it. Okay, so it's saved, and we will go over here to our desktop, and there is our image. All right, so what we'll do is use just a quick preview, and there's our image. All right, so now we can pull that into Photoshop and mess around with it. I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and we'll show you the final image as it is to this point. The other thing that is nice to know is that, let's say that you get this image, but you want to add data to it. With this process, you can do that. You can go out, you can capture more data, and you can add that data to the image to richen it up, you know, to add more detail, so on and so forth. You can take it from 6 hours to 12 hours to 24 hours of data. It's just, you know, what the skies, you know, are giving you, what the weather is doing for you, and where your target is in the sky at the particular time of year. So you can put a pin in this and come back at it next year and add more data to it. That's one of the nice things about what we do, is that the sky is predictable, and with the right software, we can locate, lock on, plate solve, and continue capturing data on targets from year to year. So,
one journey through space later.
So there we have it. We've wrapped up our third episode on the HyperStar. We have taken from the very beginning of installing our HyperStar, going ahead and collimating, getting everything set up as far as the hardware environment is concerned, taking our telescope to its target, slewing, plate solving, and image capturing on that target, learning what it takes to use this system efficiently, pulling our data into our programming software packages like PixInsight and Photoshop and others, and learning what it means to capture an image from start to finish. If you like this content and you'd like to see more of what we do here at Astro Playground, consider subscribing to our channel. And in doing so, give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, comment and tell us what you think we're doing right. Tell us what you think we're doing wrong. My goodness, maybe you think I'm just being an idiot.
I'm an idiot!
At any rate, I would encourage you to also check us out on Astroworld TV. At Astroworld TV, we meet twice a week on Wednesdays and on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk all things astrophotography. Everything from our personal rig setups and our acquisitions to our successes and our failures. We go off the rails on a lot of topics, and we have a lot of fun in the process. So come on over and visit us there. If you do visit Astroworld TV for the first time and you got there by an invitation from me here at Astro Playground, let them know that you made it over there by visiting us here. I would also encourage you to check out Astroworld telescopes. My buddy Dan Higgins runs a wonderful and incredible online service for all things astrophotography and imaging. I'm going to include a link to AstroWorld telescopes. That is a link that offers us a commission. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps to support what we do here at Astro Playground. And in doing so, we would encourage you to say hi to Dan for us and let him know that you got over there by visiting us here. If you really enjoy what we're doing here and you feel compelled to support us in more monetary ways, consider buying me a coffee. You can go right here up to Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link on my homepage. You can send us a one-time donation. You can subscribe to a monthly subscription if you're so inclined. All proceeds go to supporting our channel here and so that we can continue to bring the kind of content that you have come to enjoy. So we've managed to finish our processing in Photoshop. I hope that you enjoy the final image. This, by no sense of the imagination, is the end of imaging on a target like this. It's just a stop along the way. My hope is that sharing images like this is that it will inspire you to continue to strive for better acquisition, better processing, learning your craft and mastering your craft, overcoming those obstacles and enjoying those little victories. Capturing this image was a lot of fun. I learned more than I knew going in, and hopefully we will continue to learn as we move forward. I do hope you enjoy the image.